All rise.
This is Deeper Than Money. Talk to me. I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
If he is not going to honor you, he needs to be gone.
Compassionate.
I don't want you to give up on your dreams. I don't. And I want to figure out how we get this straight.
She's powerful.
If I were in this situation, I would have put you out too.
And she's on the bench.
I feel like I'm being judged here.
That's what I do.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Ingrid Lundgren is suing Eric Lundgren in the amount of $9,900. Ms. Lundgren claims she went to visit her parents in Switzerland and learned they had died, and says her brother owes for her travel costs because he kept their deaths a secret.
Oh my. It is no surprise if you've watched me over the years that it always saddens me when I see siblings, family members on opposite sides of my court, and that's what we have today. I mean, this is a very serious case. I've thoroughly reviewed the complaint that you filed against your brother, and you're saying that he owes you some $9,900. And so, Ingrid, why is it that you are here suing your brother?
Okay, Your Honor, yes, my name is Ingrid Lundgren. I'm here today because I never imagined that my own brother would leave me to discover the death of my parents when I walked up to the door and knocked on it, and they were not there.
So your parents died, and you did not know that they had passed away.
That is correct.
But there has to be, I've read the complaint, there is a serious backstory to all of this. My understanding from the complaint is that your parents left the United States and it moved and were living in Switzerland. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, and that you, Eric, were their primary caretakers in Switzerland.
That's
Is that
right, Your Honor.
correct? And so why didn't your sister know that your parents had passed before she went and knocked on the door?
Your Honor, my name is Eric Lundgren. I was the primary caretaker of my parents while they were living in Switzerland. They moved to Switzerland specifically to be private.
When you say private, what does that mean? Help me understand.
They wanted to be alone, to have their lives. They knew that their lives were coming to an end. They were in decline. My father had advanced ALS. My mother had Parkinson's, progressive Parkinson's disease. And they knew that their lives were coming to an end, and they wanted to have that be private and as peaceful as possible. And they explicitly asked me to look over them and not share any information about what was happening in their lives with my sister Ingrid, because she had previously published a memoir that exposed many of the deficiencies and lies that happened in our young lives.
What?
Yes, that is true.
Wait. So you wrote a memoir about your personal lives involving your parents and your sibling?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why? Why would you do that?
Well, you know, I think as a writer, we have an opportunity to express our feelings. Growing up in the family, there was a lot of secrets. I tried to communicate to my family, to my parents specifically, and they would not have those hard conversations. They were not available emotionally. And every time I tried to approach them, I was shut down. Everything was swept under the rug. And as a writer, that's what we do. So I went to my writing and I found this safe space for me to be able to express how I felt. And that's exactly what I did.
So, no. I need to understand more than this. So what your brother is saying is that your parents specifically said that they wanted to leave this country. They wanted to go to Switzerland to live out their lives. They were both terminally seriously ill, and they specifically said, don't tell you, because they wanted to protect their privacy. So there must have been something very devastating about this writing that you did.
Yes, you know, unfortunately, every family dynamic has their own secrets, and the secrets, I think, helped people like me to understand, there was alcoholism, there was physical abuse, there was all these things that happened within our family dynamic.
Your Honor, if I may say, this is Ingrid's opinion, and what she put in that book is not necessarily what happened, and that is specifically why our parents requested that information no longer be, and no information be given to Ingrid anymore because of the way she distorted what happened in our childhood.
Your Honor.
I have a memo right here from our parents asking specifically that Ingrid not be told anything about what was happening in their lives while they were in Switzerland.
But you never gave me the opportunity to be able to say goodbye. I mean,
Wait a minute. To our son, Eric, we ask that our daughter, Ingrid, not be informed of our declining health or our end-of-life decisions. We love her, but we fear conflict, stress, persuasion during this time. Please respect our wishes for privacy and peace in our final days. It is signed by your parents.
yes, it is. It is. But also, I think that towards the end of their life, they weren't thinking correctly, and my brother always
Well,
had.
before the end of their lives, when they were still living in the U.S., what was the relationship with you and your parents?
It was stressed.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
By spreading all those lies about what happened in our family. Because the things that happened in our family, you see, she says that there was alcoholism in our family, that's projection.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Ingrid Lundgren, who is suing her brother Eric Lundgren for negligence.
If you were going to write the memoir, did you talk to your parents about this before you did it, before it was published?
I tried to contact them. They never wrote me back. They never gave me the.
Did you go and knock on the door?
Yes, actually, I did.
You went to their home. You're under oath. You're telling me that you went to their home and that you tried to talk to them before you had the memoir published. Is that your testimony?
No. My testimony is that I tried to reach out to them and I never heard back. So
That's not the question.
Okay.
The question is, did you go to your parents' house and try to see them and talk to them face to face? That's the question.
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Why not?
Because it took time. It took time to realize that I had to see what my part was. I wanted to be in their life. I really did. And then when I went to therapy, I saw what my part was. I wanted to see what was going on.
But you wrote the memoir before you went to therapy.
Yes, that memoir opened up my eyes. I had to see what my part was. I knew that there was something even more deeper, and I decided to go to therapy.
Well, I'm glad you went to therapy, but my point is, do you understand what kind of impact that may have had on your parents? For
Yes.
all of that to be written and read by people who had no idea of who they were or who you were or who Eric is.
Yes, I understand that, Your Honor, but with that.
Do you understand how painful that could have been?
Yes, but I want them to understand how painful it was for me and how many people I helped as a result.
How
at the
many
book
people
signing.
did you help?
I've helped. I can't tell you it. At the book signing, so many people came up to me and said, "Thank you for writing this memoir because you don't."
At the expense of our family, you were giving those people help. Who do you think was actually being helped by spreading all those lies about what happened in our family? Because the things that happened in our family, you see, she says that there was alcoholism in our family. That's projection. I think my sister has alcoholism of her own. Fine. She doesn't need to make that projection onto my father or onto my family, or say that our family was not having proper communication. I had good communication with my family.
How many nights did you have to help your father? How many nights did you have to help Dad up the steps?
You talked about
How
not
many
having
times
our
did that happen?
communication with our father, with our parents about the book. They didn't want to talk to her because they didn't trust her. They talked to me because they trusted me, because I was the one who was there
Because
whenever
you
they
shut
needed
me
help.
out. That was the whole motive the whole time. You decided on your own. You manipulated the situation. You killed our parents is what you did.
Wait a minute. Whoa! Hold it. You're now telling me that your brother killed your parents?
Yes, I feel.
How can you say that?
Well, Your Honor, with due respect, I know that there was a system, and just knowing him from growing up, that he put it in their head. They're Christians. They didn't believe in assisted suicide.
So wait a minute, let's back up. So your parents made the decision to have end-of-life plans. Eric, talk to me about what they planned. Tell me exactly what their plan was.
In Switzerland, there is a system in place where people can choose to end their own life. I want to show you this document that was signed by Claudia Lundgren and Marcus Lundgren, my parents, saying that they have made this decision on their own and that it is lawful.
And so, anticipating that I was going to hear this case today, I do know that Switzerland has the laws such that people can make those end-of-life decisions, unlike in the United States. And maybe that was part of the reason that they moved to Switzerland?
It may have been.
Okay.
No, I don't believe that, Your Honor.
When they first
no,
moved
I do
there,
not. No, they were from
there.
Switzerland.
We are from Switzerland.
Oh, so your roots are from Switzerland?
Yes,
roots are in
yes,
Switzerland.
and they wanted to go back to retire. He's
Okay.
twisting the story.
So, no, it may have
No,
been
they wanted to
coincidental,
go back
but
to
I believe
no. They wanted to go back to retire to have that
Okay,
beautiful
so they wanted to go
landscape.
back to retire.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Let's just say that they wanted to go back to retire. But as I understand it, their health started to decline further and further and further.
Yes.
Yes.
And what you're saying to me, and what I'm seeing from this document, is that they made the decision that they wanted to be in charge of their health and the decision about what happened in their lives.
Yes, as
I
you
disagree,
may
Your
know,
Honor.
No,
I disagree. I think that
the end of
you
life.
You
chose-
weren't there!
When my parents first brought this to me, when they first brought this idea to me, I was against it. I asked them not to. But as I watched them decline, and I went to the hospital and I would watch my father shaking more and more and have paralysis on days where he couldn't swing his legs out of bed. And I saw my mother not be able to breathe and to be struggling. And they saw at that point, when they were both in their right minds, that they wanted to start this procedure, that they convinced me that I should help them do that. And that's what I did.
Coming up,
Well, Your Honor, they're Christians. I know that they have a strong faith. And in that faith, assisted suicide or suicide in general is the cardinal sin.
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Ingrid Lundgren, who is suing her brother Eric Lundgren for negligence.
And so, Ingrid, you feel like he killed your parents?
Yes.
Talk to me.
Yes, I do.
Why? Why do you think he killed your parents?
Well, Your Honor, they're Christians. I know that they have a strong faith. And in that faith, assisted suicide or suicide in general is the cardinal sin, you know?
I'm going to ask you the hard question. How much time between the time that you published this book did you then try to go and talk to your parents?
It was approximately 3 years. That's how long it took. And then when I reached out to them, I have an Instagram post. I saw that my brother had posted, and I have the evidence here. He had posted this beautiful picture of our parents, and he said, "Looking forward to celebrating our parents' birthday, honoring their life." And I posted just to edge my way back in to say that I thought it was wonderful. I put a heart emoji here. And then I personally DM'd him, and I said, "I'm going to surprise them. It's time." And Eric misled me. He put a heart emoji and praying hands.
I never misled her. A heart emoji is not communication. Prayer hands is not a way to
But you never
to show that something
indicated that
happened.
they were dying. You never indicated that they were
posted
gone.
that.
I had to show up. I have
posted
receipts.
that
I traveled.
Wait a minute.
I posted that to my Instagram as a tribute to our parents.
Coming up,
I had to find out through perfect strangers that, that my parents were gone. You know? I just feel like he really robbed me of that opportunity.
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Ingrid Lundgren, who is suing her brother Eric Lundgren for negligence.
She could have come to Zurich anytime. Nobody was stopping her.
Right.
And there's no reason I should be compensating her for a trip that she should have done years before.
So now you're actually suing him. You're suing him for $9,900.
That is correct,
And
Your
you've
Honor.
given me receipts about your airfare and what happened, and you're telling me that Eric should be responsible for these costs. Now, when you went to Zurich, you went to the family home, and what happened?
Okay, so I walk up to the door and I knock on the door, and these two perfect strangers had told me that they had bought the house and that my parents were deceased. And it wasn't something that I was looking forward to happen. You know, I mean, I had to find out through perfect strangers that, you know, that my parents were gone. You know? It's just, I just feel like he really robbed me of that opportunity, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you, no, do not apologize. Grief is real. Do you regret having made that memoir public?
Your Honor, no. And I felt like, as a writer, it was my time. I finally claimed my time.
All right.
I
And you
felt like-
claimed it, Ingrid, at a cost. So now your parents are gone, and now you're going to sue him because you're upset that he didn't tell you that your parents were terminally ill and had passed, but they said in writing not to tell you.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
It's not about the money. It's not about the money.
Well, why are you in here suing him?
Because I want to have some control over it. I had no control whatsoever. This was my time, my choice. And I know that it takes a while for it to...
You took away their privacy and control when you published that memoir. That's why they didn't want to have you have any more information about what was happening in their life as they were declining.
I'm getting ready to rule on this case. I'm getting ready to rule. You've got to take some responsibility for having created the situation that has happened. You owe him thanks. You owe him thanks for having stood in the gap and been with your parents through those final days. What do you have to say to him?
Thank you.
Ingrid, I wish you would not have had to go to that door and knock and not have your parents there. It was their explicit instruction to me that I had to carry out. And I still love you.
I understand. Thank you. I love you too.
I'm not awarding you any money. And if you're talking about honoring your parents, the way you honor them most is that you give him his due. We'll stand adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
Then exit to the rear of the court. Make sure you have your documents, your glasses. Watch your step, please.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.